Welcome to Craig's Gun Channel. Anyone who owns firearms and likes to accessorize them, put various things on them, invariably will come across a situation where you've got some type of a light or a laser or some type of device, and it have a cable-operated switch or remote switch for it. And so you have to figure out something to do with those cables. You can't just leave them flopping around. And some people do. Some people, they'll just kind of wrap them around the fore end and zip tie things to it, put tape over it, however that you need to. However, they actually do make some accessories that are very useful to manage those cables. Keep them tucked in out of the way so they won't hang up on anything, keep them protected. And it's important to do that because if they're just out flopping around, you're likely to catch it on something, and either if worst case, it could actually rip it out of the device itself and damage the cable, or maybe even the device. At the least, it's gonna just kind of get hung up on things and just be inconvenient. So you want to do something to kind of keep that stuff under control. So Ficero wanted me to try out their M-LOK wire guides that they have. They come in a couple different package sizes. This is the 4-pack. They have a 4 and an 8-pack, and it's a good budget option. Anyone who's went and priced any of these type of accessories, they're surprisingly expensive for no bigger than what they are. However, they are important to have, and so whenever like I said, you find a budget option on something, you want to take a look at it. So they sent these to me to check them out. So as anyone who watches YouTube videos knows, or maybe if you're not aware, I'll let you know anyway, YouTube frowns on actually showing how to mount anything on a firearm. So we're not going to mount anything on a firearm. I have here just an optic rail itself. This itself mounts to a firearm, so this is not a firearm. So YouTube, the reviewers there, this is not a firearm. I'm not going to be showing how to mount anything to a firearm. This is just showing how to mount an M-LOK wire guide to a piece of M-LOK rail. I have here a remote switch. Anyone who sees these will recognize this as one of those cheap remote switches for some type of usually a less expensive device. And you'd be right, it actually goes to this. This is a kind of a knockoff clone of a D-ball A2. This is for airsoft. So the laser and stuff on it actually works very well, but it's not for real firearms. However, principle's the same. So let's go ahead and take a look. First, we'll open up the package here. Now, these clips, they're machined from aluminum, and looking at them, they're anodized, and they look, well machined. I don't see any irregularities. It's got a nice finish on them. Like I said, this is the 4-pack, so you've got the 4 wire guides itself. You got some screws. It looks like there's an extra screw. Then you have the locks themselves to lock it into the M-LOK rail, and it even comes with an Allen wrench. So I'll just set that aside. So some assembly required, of course. So you just basically put the screw through the wire guide, get your lock. The shoulders go on the outside like that, and you just start these. Now, one thing I do note here, there is no Loctite on these, so you would want to add some Loctite to the threads once you figure out for sure where you're going to put them. While you're first, trying things out, seeing where you might want to go, you probably don't want to use the Loctite. However, once you settle on a final configuration, you'd want to throw some Loctite on there. It helps keep them from working loose. The whole purpose of these would be to keep control of your cables. So these falling off would be counterproductive to that. So go ahead and get these going here. And real simple in operation. So you have your piece of M-LOK rail, and I'll just stick one right there. And we'll say I want to mount my switch here. Obviously, you would mount these wherever it would make the most sense for your particular device and your configuration. didn't tighten this up enough when I first started putting it together. You have to position the locks at the correct distance so that they'll catch. And then once they do, then they'll turn as you go, and then they'll tighten up. And then you got your cable there. I'll go ahead and throw another one on. We'll say back here. So that's how they would look once they're installed. Now, depending on the size of your cable, it may slide back and forth a little bit. However, it does a good job of keeping it in place there. And say, you had your device hooked up here, that could just plug into it. However, just you have to kind of, visualize a little bit how that you might work, because every situation, every configuration is going to be a little bit different. Now, you could actually then set this up to where it would loop around that side, and then I'll go around to that side. And tighten that down. So there you go. You'd have your cable all set up however you would need it. And there again, this isn't a review of the cable here. This is a review of the cable management guides. And overall, I think that works pretty good. They do a good job of keeping the cable secure. I mean, that's not going to pop out of there. So overall, I think they work fine. Like I said, budget options are always good. The 4-pack of these is currently running around just under $10 on Amazon. The 8-pack is just a couple dollars more, so it actually would make sense, obviously, to get more than what you might need at first, because unless you have just the one firearm to accessorize, you might need more of these than what you think. For example, there's 2 of them right here, just to keep track of the wire on this side here. Depending on your firearm and your configuration, you may need several just for a single device. The nice thing about these, since they are two-sided, there's channels on both sides. So there again, you could loop a cable around. It could go on the top or the bottom, however that might need. Actually, you could even, it could go on sideways, so to speak, if it needs to loop up and around. And it could keep control of 2 cables at once. However your setup and configuration, however it's going to need be. And overall, they seem to work just fine. They lock on very securely. And there again, once you get your final configuration, you'd want to put some Loctite on there just to make sure they don't work loose from recoil. Now, if you're like putting it on an airsoft or a .22, that might not be needed, but anything bigger than that, the recoil will loosen them up over time. Ask anyone who's put any kind of accessory on a firearm, and they'll be able to attest to that. So Loctite is your friend on that. Make sure you use the blue Loctite. You don't want it to become a permanent fixture necessarily. Just, common sense. So overall, I think these are great. A good affordable price point. Like I said, compare around, look around. These can be, you can spend as much as you want on accessories. So if you find one that does the job you need and it's a more affordable option, by all means, go ahead and go with that one. I don't see anything that would be wrong with using these. I think they'd be great. Like I said, they seem to be machined well. They look nice. And they're at a good price. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, I'd ask you please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to continue to see more like it. And as always, until next time, stay safe.